As you can see, we got the roll bar out of the replacement tub that we're going to use. So these are a pain in the ass to get out. What you end up having to do, because they have these, it doesn't want to focus on it, they have these Torx bolts that hold them in. You end up having to remove the fender flares. Then you have to remove this rubber inner liner. It's a wheel well liner for the back wheel wells. You got to take your tail lights out, and you really need to do this. I don't know that I would even trust doing it with the tub on because of the gas tank, or you have to pull the gas tank, because you have to get up inside the back corners from the bottom. There's also plastic covers down here that you have to remove. You have to take all that off because you need to heat up from behind. These are rib nuts that are in the body, or well nuts, whatever you want to call them. You have to heat them up from behind, and then somebody else has to take and break them loose on top once you get everything red hot. There's also a very good possibility you're going to ruin your paint doing it. This side, the outside didn't get messed up, but this side it did. I'm painting this anyway, so it's not the end of the world. And we're going to be bed liner the whole inside, so again, not the end of the world if the paint blistered. The reason we took it off is because, as you can see, the factory does not paint underneath of it. It looks like there's primer, and then they just set the roll bar right on top there and spray the whole tub. So they rust out. This is not bad. It's a little bit of surface rust. Same with that side and the back. But when you get up here, you know, you've got scale. It's not horrible. It's not the end of the world. I can clean that up, you know, clean it up with a knot wheel, whatever, put some rust killer on it. I'm going to have to chip some of this. I'm definitely going to have to, yeah, so you got to chip out some of this old seam sealer because the rust is under that seam sealer too. So when we do the bed liner, it's going to get put in with the tub being bare. We're not going to have the roll bar in, and then we'll clean the back of the roll bar pads and paint them, and then just bolt it right on top of the bed liner. That way moisture, moisture may sit between the roll bar and the bed liner, but at least it's not going to be sitting between the roll bar and the body anymore, rotting the body out. This is one of the reasons these body tubs rot out back here. The other side of the tub, perfectly clean. There's no rust. So that tells you that the body tubs rot from the inside out behind the front driver and passenger seats. We're also going to be spraying inside this body panel with something to make sure it's coated inside. This is where your shoulder belt retractor bolts to for the front seats on both sides. Now when you're taking out the wheel wells, they are 8mm for the fender flares. You got to do them from the inside out, and this is not the first one I've done. Usually these have been over tightened from the factory or by somebody else, and these go through that rubber wheel well liner, through the body and through the flare and into one of these square plastic nuts. So they are a pain in the butt to get out. One side we just ended up, the inner fender liner was actually broken, so we just ripped it out because we couldn't, these have been over tightened so much you just couldn't get to them. But we have a parts vehicle obviously sitting here, so I'm not worried about not having the wheel well liner. I'm not sure it even really needs to go back in. The early ones didn't have it. A good undercoating might even take the place of it. So we'll see what we do when we get to that point. And that's it for that.